Coach Riley made mention that Hymas, as he put it, he won the job at right tackle. Like, what's Hymas done to, how have you seen him progress, I guess?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him, both learning, his toughness. I've just been, really impressed with how mature he's played. I think that anytime you get a true freshman that's playing as many minutes as he is, you're going to have some growing pains in there, and I don't think there's been many. I think we had one hurry on the quarterback that actually he was expecting tight end Chip help and didn't get it. So it looked like it was his fault, but it actually really wasn't. I just think he's really matured in his play. I've been very impressed with how he's prepared for each game, and he's had a few ups and downs like a rookie would, but I think really, really solid overall.
When you have the two of those guys, those two freshmen working together, you just kind of expect there's going to be moments with the two of them where they're learning how to work with each other and communicate. How do you maybe work on their communication in a short period of time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing comes from the center. He's really got to drive it to help them out because they are new and they're young. And I think it's starting. It starts in there with Cole and echoing the calls from Matt out to Hymas is really important. The tight end tackle communication is very big. I think in that example I'd given about the help, I don't think there was great communication between the tight end and the tackle, and he probably could have helped that part of it just by asking him, are you going to be here, and things like that. So I think that it's a constant reminder daily and making sure we're hearing the calls at practice. And they're loud enough to hear, when you're on the road, all the stuff that you need to do to make sure your communication's good.
How did you feel like the vibe with seeing the holes on Saturday?
I think that he continues to run hard. We've got to get him, especially in the zone game, to really press the hole. I think there are times where he might have been a little wide, and having to get back to where that hole is created is important. I think there's definite instincts and feel to running. I don't think you can just tell him, okay, this is how it's going to be every single time, especially in zone blocking schemes where there's going to be movement. So you're always trying to get the backs to really get to the heel line of the offensive line and press those holes, and then they can make their cuts. So if you start making the cuts too early, it's not going to be good. I think there were a couple times that he probably made a cut maybe a little quick. But he's doing a nice job of getting back to where he should be. If we can get him into that hole a little faster, I think we'll have even more production out of him.
Is it patience? Is patience a field thing?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it's getting a feel of his read keys and then making sure he continues to have the patience. A lot of runs are kind of hold to cut back, so we don't want to cut it back too quick, and we want to make sure we're hitting the hole and then making a cut from there.
Wilbon's action has decreased, I guess, since Wisconsin. What has led to that?
A little bit of Jalen Barnett, and a little bit of just not being 100%. I think initially that was what started it, and then Jalen got some of those reps. So that was really more than anything the reason.
Okay. You see something in Minnesota's defense makes running the ball palatable. They're giving up about 4.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, they've had they've statistically, and those lies statistics. I think was it Mark Twain said it. Somebody. You can't ever read too much into it, but it's an indicator that they've had a little bit of trouble running the ball or defending the run at times. So it's something that we want to make sure we're geared up for. I think the weather's going to be a factor. At least the forecast is could be for some crummy weather, and I think that runs will be important in that game. But I think they have two solid D tackles that give you some problems. I don't think they're as big at defensive end as we've faced lately. I think which has been maybe a little bit of their problem. They haven't been able to hang in there maybe for an entire game. But their backers are good. Their safeties are physical hitters, so they'll be down in there tight. They're a quarters team, and they like to force with those safeties. So they'll be tough. They're physical. They play hard. I think their ends are probably a little smaller than we've seen, so it's something that we've got to go after them.
But what can you do, Danny, to get mainly to get your quarterback ready if there's bad weather? I mean, can you do anything during the course of the week?
A little bit of wet ball drills, trying to throw with a soaked ball. We'll take some stuff outside and in the cold, and just trying to get ready for the elements. There's not really, without the snow, it's hard to simulate it, but I think just having a good mindset about it, getting out there in the weather a little bit throughout the week, and making sure we're snapping and throwing with the wet ball at times, I think is important just to get used to it.
What can you learn off that Michigan game? Similar team as far as offensive styles and what they do, pro style.
Yeah, they got into some big formations, big people formations, and really stuck with it. The thing that really skewed their numbers, I thought, was the big explosive runs. I think they had 3 or 4 big runs. 60, 70 yarders, something like that. It seemed like they were coming out of piles all over the place and big hits in the run game. So they did a nice job of covering them up. They ran some gap schemes that looked pretty good, and they stuck with it. I don't even think they threw for more than 50, 60 yards in the game, and didn't really have to. So I think it's probably a good blueprint to look at and study. We've been looking at that game along with all the others throughout the season, but that one was particularly interesting running the ball.
Danny, so you saw something special in Tyjon in fall camp. Has he filled the role you expected him to fill this year?
I think that he's had some rookie growing pains, like all rookies do. I think I said it a while ago that I've felt he's just as far along as some of our great receivers that we've had in our history. Guys, Brandon Cooks and Marcus Wheaton. I think as true freshmen, they had their moments, and I think Tyjon's had some of those things, just the same. But he's a sharp kid. He's really, mentally into it as well as physically able to handle it. So, we always are hoping for more production from everybody. So, hopefully we can get him the ball in space a little bit more and get some of those explosives created for him. But I feel like he's doing a good job. He's not exactly where he wants to be, but at the same time, for a freshman, he's doing just fine.
How do you work Jalen Bradley back in this week?
Yes, we were trying to get him back. Hopefully he'll be okay. He's been, just maybe a little slower to come back lately, and I'm hoping that we can get him rehabbed and ready to go. If we can, we'll get him in the rotation. So we'll have to see how much practice he gets and where he's at tomorrow and for sure Wednesday.
What is a good sense of motivation for this kind of game and this kind of program? When you look at, all right, how are we going to motivate these guys to get them where they need to be? What buttons do you want to try to push?
I think playing our best game. I think that for the quarterback, doing a good job of seeing the field and spreading the ball and checking the ball down and not either guessing on coverage or forcing any throws. I think for the unit, having the balance of running the ball and finding those completions is big. It's a conference opponent on the road. Those are big ones. Those are tough games. We're still pushing hard to get victories in the West Division and working hard to a bowl game. So I think there's a lot of stuff out there for us to keep fighting and battling and preparing for. I think our guys were excellent today. One of the better Monday practices we've had. So I'm encouraged by their effort, their attitude towards continually improving.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, thanks.